A couple years ago, I predicted that social was going to surpass RMG in terms of the most innovative market for slots design. And I believe we've come to that point. This prediction was based largely on the simple mathematic advantage that social slots has over RMG. A team on social slots can release 1 to 2 machines a month. A team in RMG is going to release one machine a year. 2 years ago, every social slots team was at G2E. And this year, it really felt like some of the teams were at G2E, and the people that were there were strolling in at 10:30, 11, and they were leaving at 2:30, 3. That said, there's still a lot to learn from the RMG machines that are coming out at G2E. And I wanted to highlight a few things that are applicable and potentially valuable for social slots designers. The first is that we obviously saw a fair amount of respin mechanic innovations. One to call out is SGI's Dropin Link mechanic, where the symbols would drop, lock, and if a player filled an entire row, that row would clear and account towards their win, but it would free up space for more winning symbols. There were a fair amount of respin innovation mechanics, and you can find more in the feature database under casino content RMG. The second thing is variations on real set formations. We typically see this a fair amount in RMG because of the extended display, but there were colossal symbols, for example, from 007 Die Another Day, where the symbols filled up the entire display and actually went up into the bonus area. There were overlapping reel sets where we saw from SGI, Spartacus Super Colossal reels. The Hexbreaker 3 from IGT had the bonus game reels actually flip upside down and then come down from the top as opposed from the bottom. I will say, however, on social, base game reel set formations is pretty much dominated by 3x5 and 4x5. So if you're going to experiment on reel set formations and changes, I recommend just doing that in the free spins, because we really just don't see a lot of top slots designers playing around too much with the reel set formations. The other thing to call out, again, this is a little bit smaller, but we saw a pretty cool facial expression, somewhat facial recognition mechanic in SGI in their Athena Unleashed machine and their Unleashed machines in general, where the character was standing above the reel set and actually looked at you, looked down, looked over, smiled, rolled her eyes. It was pretty mesmerizing, and it would have been better if it was attached to the camera and it could actually like look at you and seem like it's following you around the room. It wasn't, but it was still a very cool and engaging experience for the slots player. A couple other things that we saw I just wanted to call out. This stuff is more prevalent in social, but we saw a fair amount of booster symbols. So if you're trying to follow the RMG trend, that might be something you want to invest a little bit more of. Just like symbols coming down and then adding additional value, additional reels, additional free spins and things like that. And persistent features was something at G2E that continues from last year, where we saw a lot of like 10 spin persistent features. This is a lot harder on RMG, obviously. So social really leads the way in persistent features, and a machine to potentially check out is a Zorro machine. Scarab Link had a drop down mechanic, so that was an extension again of Scarab from last year, which was a big machine for IGT. The other trend that we saw was extended bonus games, which is something that's more prevalent in social, which was layering bonus games one after another. So you'd have a respin to a wheel spin, or a wheel spin that got filled the reels, and vice versa. We're not really seeing this being a huge trend in social, looking at the data. The last thing is something we reference in the slots design report. If you go to the second new innovation, the multi-wheel bonus feature, we talk a little bit about the tap and pay machines that have come out, one by Every, the Lightning Zap machine. And this machine is really just a tap and pay, where a player is going to tap and the meter is going to fill, and if it doesn't fill fully, they lose the bet, and if it fills fully, they win, and then the ball zaps all the winning amounts around it, and that's basically it. And I think that this is a very interesting trend on social, that I think is an opportunity is to test machines on either extreme. And we talk about this on page 9 of the report. And either extreme meaning that they're all about the bonus games and players are, for example, going to pay a ton just to trigger a bonus game or multiple bonus games. Or on the other extreme is that they have no reels and that all they're doing is really tapping and paying. These type of machines are strong sync machines because even though they're maybe not going to be attractive to a ton of players, the players that are playing them are very high bet per minute numbers because there is no spinning mechanics. You're just taking out that spinning mechanics. I think that this is an opportunity for social slots designer, and I expect to see a fair amount more of these tap and pay machines. The slots design report for this month continues to focus on the social market with references to machines we saw at G2E. There are machines in the feature database from G2E. Again, if you filter on casino content RMG, we focus on the big four but if you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me at Brett with 2 T's and .Novak, spelled with the W, at liquidandgrit.com.